Shall go for okay. To give a small intro on this topic, first we'll discuss on environment. Okay, already we have discussed in the earlier session, in the very first session, we have discussed what is an environment, what we are going to discuss, all these things we have done. Even then, we'll go for a small briefing on environment. Actually, if we go for checking the nature, it's a changing environment, actually, to say. Changing in the sense that it will not be static, it will be dynamic. So it's very important that I need to check when I say the word environment, we have to go for all the angles. Okay. Especially we classify as two. One is internal and one is external. Or we may classify in this angle micro environment and macro environment. To give a better understanding, let me say my company is Mahindra and Mahindra. Okay, Mahindra and Mahindra groups. So if I talk about automobile industry, Mahindra and Mahindra's automobile. Along with Mahindra and Mahindra, there may be an automobile company A, there may be an automobile company B, there may be an automobile company C, and so on and so on. Okay. All these put together is what you call as micro environment because a small check. How can I distinguish this as micro or macro? If government imposes some policy, okay, government imposes some policy. Is that policy is applicable within the industry, that is automobile industry, or to the whole? Okay. If it is applicable within the industry, which means it's applicable for me, it's applicable for A, applicable for B, applicable for everyone. If that is the case, we call it as micro. This government policy is not only applicable for our industry, for other industries also. Okay. In that case, one circle outside will call put together as macro. Okay. So if any that may be regarding the export import policy, or that may be regarding the currency fluctuation, inflation and deflation, where my industry gets affected. Not only my industry, other industries also gets affected. In that sense, we'll call it as macro. Okay. If policy is input directly to us, especially with respect to automobiles, especially with respect to pollution because of automobiles. See, pollution is a wider area. More than automobiles, textile industry is very much affected. Not very much affected, it's affecting the area, pollution. So when we talk about pollution, especially on, or I may go this way, when we talk about e-vehicles, EV, now you might have gone through this news. Tesla launched, not launched, brought a new showroom in Mumbai. This is the very first showroom in India, in Mumbai. And Anand Mahindra is giving a thumbs up, saying that, yes, I'm ready for the competition. We went through. That was a really, because Anand Mahindra is totally active on social media. He has to respond to that. If he's not responding, everybody will think that, oh, that's it, Anand Mahindra gone. He's in some fear, so he's not going to come away. He has to give some challenge, and he says, yes, we'll face a new competition here. And that's the very first showroom Tesla has launched in Bombay, Mumbai. Okay. If government is imposing some policy, probably if I read the article right, I think 70% is imposed as customs duty for them because they're not manufacturing here. I think they're manufacturing from China and bringing it here. I think I'm not very sure which country it is. So in that sense, they have to pay 70% customs duty alone. So this will be a challenging area for Mahindra, definitely. So we need to go in this way, micro and macro. In another angle, I was telling that we can discuss this as internal and external in the sense that internal means is very internal to my company alone because see, I'm developing a policy called as employee related policy. Okay, regarding the promotion, designations, and all other things. If I'm developing a policy only for my employees, only for my suppliers, only for my stakeholders, then it becomes completely internal, which means it's inside micro, which means it's just Mahindra alone, not other company. If it becomes external, yes, not only my industry, my that is the same industry within the industry, or everybody will be put under extra. Okay, inside and outside. That's it. Internal means completely inside the organization. External means one step ahead. Okay. So actually, when we say strategic analysis, so let me go for the heading. Okay, brief discussion on heading. Actually, when we talk about strategic analysis and strategic planning, When we stay analyzing, actual step starts here, analyzing the environment. Okay. Because it's something that you're going to plan depending on the environment's movements and depending on the environment changes only and how far I'm going to adopt to that only I'm going to plan. So as we were discussing with EV, electric vehicles, Mahindra is putting more efforts. Okay. And obviously Tesla is also a big industry, that is a big company in EV. See, we're discussing on this Toyota and Ford company. You remember Toyota and Ford? When Toyota wants to launch his company, there is global expansion in US. Ford was a gigantic player over there. Okay, probably Tesla when it was playing for EV vehicles. So obviously Tesla might have thought about Anand Mahindra, right? Not only Anand Mahindra, the full Anand Mahindra and Mahindra. Definitely Tesla might have thought. So Tesla may be having a different strategy. So let us check what's going to happen. Okay. So we need to analyze the environment, and not only that, we have to plan accordingly. See, we are not using the term just as planning. We are using the term as strategic planning, which means we have to analyze in such a way that we are going to win the situation. Okay, not just tackling. Tackling is doing in a better way is tackling, you can say, but not just tackling. I have to sustain in the competition. I have to take some unique advantage so that I plan in such a way that I stand up like a unique person. So this should be not a planning, just it should be a strategic planning. So we'll go for strategic analysis and strategic planning. Before continuing, let me go for the content page. The very first content page, what we are going to discuss here is we'll be coming across these six headings, okay, subheadings. One is we are going to analyze businesses environment, and we are going to take the help of Western analysis and SWOT analysis. Actually, it's an extension SWOT C analysis. So C stands for challenges also. Okay. And whenever we talk about industry, we'll be discussing on the portfolio analysis, we'll be discussing on BCG matrix, which means all dimensional analysis. Okay, we'll go for cell by cell arrangement matrix. Then 9.5 and 9.6 is a basic thing. So because we are discussing on strategic planning also, so we'll discuss what are the different stages and what are the alternatives that we have in strategic planning. All these things will be discussed. Okay. So shall I take over? The very first topic, actually, it's not the first topic, it's just an introduction for ninth. Okay. So over here, what do you mean by strategic making process? Actually, this is about 9.5. It's just not like a one stage process. We'll go for checking or we'll go for formulating. Before formulating, we have to analyze the environment. Formulation should be successful at the same time, it should be properly implemented. So that's why the term you find it as strategy implementation. It should be implemented in such a way so that formulation may be 100% successful, but the full strategy will be successful only if it is properly implemented. Okay. You may be thinking that I have formulated in a beautiful way, in a strategically way, and I have implemented this properly, but still you have to evaluate because the environment is changing, it's dynamic, not static. So you have to check in such a way that strategy should be evaluated. The one you have implemented should be evaluated, and you have to be checking that whether this is in control. Okay. Usually there'll be a team working on the strategic planning, the implementation, and all else. What will be done is there'll be a person called a strategic advisor. So completely a person will be devoted in this sense. Okay. If it is a small company, if they are not in a or if they are not having any budget for allocating this such person, then any one director will be taking the role, or especially the CEO will be taking the role. Okay. So when we talk about strategic formulation, it includes, yes, you remember the definition? It should be aligned with vision, goals, and objectives. So when we talk about the formulation of strategy, we have to check what's the organization vision, values, what are the major goals, and please state accordingly. Okay. And you require the analysis of internal and external environment also. Yes, success of a strategy depends on how managers understand, because the role of the manager, because they have to properly understand, then only they'll know what they are doing and how they are going to do it in the future. So it's like present, past, and future. Everything will be considered. Okay. So when we say strategy, it's a small colloquial definition. It's a result of unplanned responses to uncertain circumstances. And not resources responses, because when we say the environment is not static, it's changing. So we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen in the next quarter or next year. Also, we are not going to know. We are not very sure about the circumstances also. So what's going to be the atmosphere? So there may be some significant deviation. The strategies which we intended and which we. So let me go for 9.1 analysis of business environment. So before we go for the theory content, let me go directly go for this picture like in the page 9.2. So we discuss this as the environment analysis, the different layers. Okay, the innermost one circle you can find it here is the organization, and the other players will be called as which means within the industry, right? Even though which I talk within the industry, there will be some direct players which are competing with me, the rivals. So competitors in the markets, and along with it, there may be other persons who form a market that is industry or sector, then goes with macro. So all this together, in short, we call it as micro. Okay. So now let me come over here. Please join. So when we say environment, please try to understand this definition. It's quite important. It's quite easy only. It's not tough and all. Please try to understand what are the terms we are using here. When we say environment, it's not just we are understanding who are my competitors and which is my industry. Not only that understanding, it's all the conditions, all the events, all the what are the influences around me, which are the things affecting me in and around an organization is what you call as the environment. Not a single thing. Not only this condition, not only that Tesla is coming to the market now, first time in India. Obviously, Tesla will be having a craze on Tesla, okay, compared to Mahindra's group. So we need to check each and everything happening. Even a small event also will be affecting our business. Okay. So you need to understand how far it is important because when we say if any other person, for example, probably before 3 or 6 months, we had this Apple showroom launched. Okay, this is not going to affect Mahindra, right? But there is an influence on Mahindra. Can you just this is a small interpretation, okay? Need not be. I may be planning to go for. Can I just get the range of Apple food range? What it costs? If I want to buy an Apple phone, 60,000. Because I came to know from almost he got it for 1 lakh. That's what I'm asking. 1 lakh, maybe I think 1.25 he bought it. That's why I'm asking. In case I'm planning for an Apple phone or I'm planning for a what the second sale car. Okay, Apple is important or car is important. Whether it's Mahindra Group or not. It depends on how much I invest, right? If Apple showroom is launched in India, is that going to affect Mahindra? There may not be a direct impact. And there's going to be less impact. But Anand Mahindra has to think about this showroom launch also. But if it's Tesla, it's going to be a direct impact on Mahindra's group. So you need to understand which one will be important and you will identify the three key areas, which we call as critical areas, key areas or critical areas. So the very survival depends on its environment, first thing. And the environment also the source of threats. Whatever happening around me, that's going to give me threats. So actually, we are going to give a broad introduction on SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, and also we are going to discuss on crystal. So we are just going for a wider introduction for these one. So hostile shifts in market demand maybe there may be some new regulatory requirements, there may be some innovations in technology, there may be some entry of new competitors as Tesla now. Okay. And environment change can even be an opportunity, also can be a threat. Because I may be thinking, see, I go for Tar or Teslas. 70% on custom duty. Why I need to pay 70% on custom duty? That's added to me as a cost, right? So why I need to invest so much? That is why did it cost so much? So let me go for Mahindra. It's completely and I'm a patriotic person. Okay, so I think okay, see all the products which I use are not Indian. Only for this because of 70% custom duty. I think no, I'm patriotic to India. Let me go for Mahindra. No, it's not that way. It may be an opportunity or it may be a threat. Both will happen. Okay, and definitely managers are playing an important role. Who are the managers? Actually, we were discussing this one, right? When we go for the organization structure, this will be the top level, this will be the middle level, and the bottom level, or what you call as the low level, or whatever it is. Let me have it as bottom level. So when we say the top level, these are the persons, the CEOs and main directors, the main management teams, the creamy layer people. Okay, who are going to design the future of the organization. They will be the managers who are actually playing the role for definition of strategy, which means formulation. But actually, who is implementing means the lower level. There may be a person who is responsible for HR, called as HR manager. There may be a person who will be responsible for accounts department. Okay. There may be a person who will be responsible for production. There will be a person who is responsible for IT, tech. All the managers are also responsible, but not for directly designing, but for implementation of strategy. Okay, you can ask me then. So probably if your question is, this manager is responsible for formulation. These managers are responsible for implementation. What about the role of the middle managers? Actually, they are the hand for both. Whatever is communicated by the top is communicated through the middle managers to the bottom managers. Actually, when we talk about the middle managers, we don't have a separate role for top and middle managers. If there are some like five, along with CEO and other directors, if there are five management team people over there, management people over there in the top level, one will be taking responsibility and taking care of HR. One will be taking the responsibility and taking care of the accounts department, where accounts department manager and HR manager will be directly reporting or conveying the message or getting the message through the middle managers. Okay, so these middle managers are not exactly the managers like, but definitely they have a role of understanding, because when I say manager, I need to know not only the vision and mission of the company, I need to know how the strategy is defined. Only when I know how the strategy is defined, on what environment background it has been defined, then I can implement it. So who is responsible for conveying this to the bottom level managers? The middle level managers. So it's not like bottom, top, or middle. All the managers have a clear understanding, because formulation alone is not important, even implementation is important over here. So we have to go like how the managers play their role. They need to analyze the environment, what are the environment changes happening, and how it's influencing me. That's my organization of it. So that's about the next heading, layers of. Then we'll go for macro environment. This is the outermost and the highest layer. So we all know these, okay? Just I'm going to go for tick mark. We have done everything. Consists of broad environmental factors which will have sometimes greater impact, sometimes lesser impact on almost all organization. Not only for me, for everybody. Okay. Suddenly, the government is imposing a 15 days ban on rice. We came to know this case. This happened some 3 or 4 months before. Suddenly, there was a shortage of rice and harvesting was poor. So, some just 15 days or 20 days alone, India banned exporting of rice. Except basmati rice, it can export every rice. Sorry, it cannot export any rice. Except basmati rice, it cannot export any rice. That's only for 15 to 20 days. After 20 days, the ban was removed. This is short-term policy where we need to keep our public, because when we talk about India's culture, we are not going to now the trend is changing. Okay, we are having pizza, burgers, pasta, and all nowadays, but still we rely on rice. So you have this habit of, even though you take biryani, at the end of the day you come home and take rasam sadam. Okay, so most of them have that thing, right? So we need to protect the rice, and the harvest was so poor, so we need to protect for our people. So 15 days ban was given. Is this going to affect Mahindra? No, probably. FMCG logistics will be affected because of this. Okay, so it will have some impact on it. Okay, so sometimes it may be greater, sometimes it may be lesser extent. Extent in the sense that how the policy and for which industry it is being defined. Okay, it's not only for me, it's for organization. That's why we call it as macro. If it is micro, it's completely greater or lesser only for me. If it is greater or lesser for almost all the organizations, then we plan as macro. Okay. So how we are going to analyze this one is we'll go for question analysis, and also we'll call something called as scenario analysis. Scenarios, they define three scenes. If it is a worst scenario, how I'm going to tackle the situation. If it is a best scenario and all the opportunities are open to me, and I have the creamy people where I can do every job, how the scene will be defined. So what will be my analysis and how I'm going to react to that environment. Okay. So we'll go this way. So we'll identify how the future trends will be done. So this is done through forecasting, where we'll be dealing in operations management. Okay, so we'll be dealing with small problems. And we'll go for this question analysis where P stands for political. So we'll check the political environment, economic environment, social, technological environment. That's E for environment. That's being green, pollution and other things. And legal environments. Okay. Probably we were discussing on Paris Agreement for carbon neutral, zero carbon neutral in the year 2040. Mahindra and Mahindra is planning. Okay, I was thinking that Mahindra and Mahindra is planning to become zero carbon neutral in 2040, but Toyota, I just myself and sir attended a program in 2035. We did not attend it. That's a program going related to uh, Toyota's spare parts company. Okay, so they are planning to become carbon neutral in 2035. Okay, Mahindra is planning to become in 2040. They both are in same automobile industry. Okay, so now that's a competition. Okay, you may think, ma'am, because we are analyzing the case, we know, ma'am. What about the layman? I just think whether I'm going to buy Toyota or Thar. So Thar is also some like peppy car like now, okay, Jeep model. So I'm going to buy, I'm going to buy Thar. Okay. Recently, 2 days back, we went to Kodaikanal. Okay. There we saw a estate of a manager. Always he comes in a normal dress. Normal, sir. I think I have seen him mostly with two or three shirts only, the same color, and he'll have a lungi, no pants and all, no pants or no shorts, just a lungi and the two or three shirts only he wears. Last week I saw him, he's going in a car car. Okay. We asked him, oh, how you got this is your car, sir. Young car, sir. Then how do you run? Because the way he rides, if I'm borrowing your car and I ride, no, I take a drive, I'll have this cautiousness whether I'm going to hit somewhere. No, he's very comfortable. He drives as if his own car with the same route. Okay, what I'm trying to say here is the owner of the estate, he has bought a car for him. Why means instead of using the truck vehicle, he has some Tata, some vehicle he has for just loading purpose. He has given this manager a car where he is using the car. Okay, now check whether I'm going to use Toyota. I'm going to use that. As a layman, you may not be knowing, but we are now studying all this. At one point of time, if we have this case, 2040, you're going to buy a car. Okay, probably before that also you'll buy. That's different. 2040 or 2035, you're planning for this. 2035 is Toyota's carbon neutral, and 2040 is the target for Mahindra groups. Then probably you'll be checking for this one because you'll be having this knowledge on carbon neutral. Okay, so another 10 years, right? Another 10 or 9 years only. So it's going to be very fast. So you're planning for one additional vehicle. If you're planning for three or vehicles, okay, let me buy Thar and let me buy Toyota, that's different. But you're planning for one vehicle in the year 2035 and you see that this is carbon neutral. So obviously there will be many privileges will be enjoyed by Toyota. Okay, even though it's not our Indian company, definitely it will be enjoying. So in that case, there will be a small difference with Mahindra and Toyota. So this will be said. So that's what about environment, legal environments like regulatory norms and all we have. We need to provide broader data, which means we need to understand what are the key drivers, how the changes are happening. It's not going to happen in a day, right? It's not going to change tomorrow. It's going to take a lot of time. We might be thinking that yesterday a policy came and just everybody are following. No, it's not this. It is taking a long, long time and it's coming over. See, that's not just, it is not in one day. It is a big plan where Mahindra has given a social media message on the day of launch. Okay, but Mahindra will be knowing before itself. Okay, so this is happening. So there will be some key drivers of change, and we have to provide data so that we'll get the information. And it's obviously it will be helpful for creating the scenarios also. What will be the possible future and all. And scenarios consider how strategies might need to change. Yeah, beautiful point, Rahi. I request to highlight this point in the sense that I may be designing something. See, today is the present for me. Okay. But instead, if I talk about the same scenario, the same analysis, strategic analysis, some 1 year later, is the same scenario is present now? No, this scenario which I designed will become past, and the one which I'm designing or have to design now becomes a present. Which means it's not only for a formulation or implementation, we have to evaluate and take the control. Which means the scene may be changing. Most of the cases it will be changing because the environment is such a very set. Okay. Can you please go to shall we go for the second layer? Layer two is talking about the from the outermost layer, so second layer. Okay. We'll be talking about all the players in the industry or the sector. Okay. Industry and sector are colloquially different terms, but we'll use it interchangeably. So this is the next layer. When we say it's an industry, we say it's a group of firm producing the same principal product. Please highlight this term principal product. Okay. So a group of companies will be offering products or services that are close substitutes also. Okay. So actually it's a two-line definition. It's not this one or that one. It's both. See, first of principle, here it is close substitute. Okay. Probably if you go for talking about mobile phones, just tell me how many are buying camera for personal purpose? Nobody. If I want to buy a camera, I'll go for a better mobile option which provides clarity, pixel cells, and other clarity options in a better way. And to have a separate. In case I'm interested in photography, if I want to dwell into photography as my passion, then it's different. But I go somewhere outing, I take photos, etc. Probably I may go for a higher version of pixels. Okay. Not as the cameras. So that's what I call as close substance. Even for touch, how many are using touch? We cannot say nobody is using, but still, it's not become like a another one option. Like, so we have in our mobile, okay. So it is satisfying the same basic customer needs. If there's no such option called as torch in my mobile, definitely when I go somewhere out, I'll be holding a torch in my hand. Okay. But this is not happening with the case of mobile phones now. Okay. So it will, so along with mobile, I can substitute with watch. Okay. Probably watch, probably if you're checking the BP, other things and all, smartwatch is different. Okay. So watch, or I can go for torch, or I can go for camera. Okay. So all these things works out. When I go for principal product service means, which means Toyota, Mahindra, Tesla, the main products. This is about industry, but when we go for sector, we talk about closely related industries, which means all these products, food and beverages, healthcare, household, everything put together really called as a, in a broader term, FMC, fast moving consumer. It's okay. So we're going to analyze using this quotas, five forces framework, so how far the industries are there and how it is practical. Then there is a third layer which we are dealing with competitors and markets. Obviously, the second layer and third layer are not much difference, but when we say competitive and markets, competitors is the same product, they are competing with it directly. When we say market, I will go for this example, it's a very beautiful example. Carbonated drinks and real fruit juices serve the basic customer needs. Okay, so when we go for non-alcoholic, so just leave away alcoholic beverages, then we go for non-alcoholic. So they have to check on this carbonated drinks. Also, they have to check on this real fruit juices. They are also serving the customer needs. Okay, I'm going to say that this one or that one. Okay. In case if I talk about the carbonated drinks and tender coconut, Elanir, the, even though that's serving the basic customers, we cannot exactly say it's the same market, but somewhat the same market only. Because when we go for carbonated drinks, it's like manufacturing we go. But when we go for tender coconut, we go for agri side. Okay, that's totally different. Even though when we talk about customer side, almost they are matching it. Okay, that's about third layer. How we are going to analyze, we'll form like strategic groups. Okay, we'll discuss that. Then we go for layer four, that's the innermost layer. So it's all happening within the industry or sectors. There'll be many different organizations, it will be having different characteristics, completing a different basis. Whatever it is, everything is happening within you only. And please highlight the second point. Customers' expectations are not the same. I may be having a different thing, you may be having a different expectation. So each and every organization cannot satisfy all the customer needs. Okay. If I'm there, I'm not going to satisfy all the customer needs. There may be some person who may like me, who may not like me and go for my competitor. Okay. So depending on the customer's expectation, the organization will be molded up. Okay. So how we analyze this is we go for something called as critical success factors. So which my organization holds. How we are going to analyze the environment means we have to understand, right? The sense of understanding, we need to know the nature of the environment. So we call it as nature of environment or we call it as characteristics of an environment. So it's quite simple only. It's actually complex. It's not just one factor influencing me. We have many events, many conditions, many influences arising from many sources interacting with each other. It's not dependent, independent. It's all interdependent. Okay, so one's depending on another, another one's depending on another. So definitely it's not so very easy. It's actually difficult on it. Okay. So, but it's easy to understand. Probably if we make as segments and segments, probably if you talk separately about marketing, if you talk separately about HR, it may be easy to understand. Okay. Probably if possible, you can have a small analysis on Anish, I think. He's a CEO of Mahindra Groups. Okay, let me check. Anish Shah. His name is Anish Shah. He's a CEO of Mahindra Groups, and uh, we can check on this because I've not gone through the. I just made a same link. I did not go through completely. He is giving some. The article is on some critical success areas, key related areas. This will call it as KRS, key result areas. So on which areas we have to focus so that, see, my organization, you cannot say all the areas are effective or going to make an impact in my organization. In my organization, there may be some areas which you call as critical success factors or critical success areas where I'll be focusing. So that will be giving the result. Okay, so I have to analyze and I have to define the strategy accordingly so that it will be helpful. So this person, please focus on response electronics. One of the customers say, definitely for each and every organization, customer is the key. No doubt on that. But what happens is, if you're not satisfying your employee, then how can you satisfy a customer? Okay, because when we talk about customers, not manufacturing or producing the product for the needs of the customers only. But obviously, at one part of time, your employees is going to be a customer. Okay, how see when I go for an automobile industry, when I go for an FMCG, whatever the industry may be, obviously I'll be having my own set of employees. Those employees will be purchasing my goods. If my own employees, itself is not employees, whatever, definitely they have to go for how you're going to satisfy your employee also because employee are main assets. Customers, when only if the product goes down, they are buying and it does as asset. But employees, if there are employees turnover is less things, then definitely it's going to be a very big asset. Okay. Okay, so let me go here. Next nature. So this is one complex, and second one is not static. It's changing, changing, and changing. So it's a constant changing nature. And third one, you cannot say only it's facing one character. We have like different characters, probably different perception of the observer may be changing. So you have to think in a different way. So for each and every individual, we may be having a different sense of the environment. So you have to think in this way. So this is multifaceted. Okay. So take over. And far-reaching impact also. So probably you're not, even though we say it's changing, it is not changing immediately. It's taking some time to get changed also. So when we say this far-reaching impact, we just don't think 3 months before it was this and 3 months today it is this. And 3 months later it's going to be totally different. So the way you define the environment should have an impact of the organization 3 months later also. Okay, probably if we talk about AIs, AIs are playing a very important role. So again, I was talking with my cousins up 2 or 3 days before. He was saying that nowadays he's in IT, IBM. He was saying that the first layer interview is happening with AI only now. Okay, set of questions where the video will be recorded, everything will be done, and the basic questions, what they go for smaller introduction, everything has happened. First layer interview is directly with AI. Earlier enough, till now, in the BPO industry, every Saturday will be a opening day. Opening in the sense that many walk-in interviews will be there. Okay, all the persons walk in like 70 to 100. Every week they walk in and they'll get selected. The first day it will be done. And a separate person will be allocated on this show. Now AI is taking all the role and the person's role are now reducing. Okay. So AI has a very good future, but what's the future in the later? Definitely AI will capture the market in all industry. But there'll be a problem also. Again, if everybody are relying on AI, then what's going to happen in the future? I was just having a chat with my daughter. She was saying that she had this exam. Just now she finished this midterm exam. So she was saying that, Yamuna, this time only chat GPT taught me English. உடனே நான் சொன்னேன் நானும் பாபாவும் ஃபீஸ் பே பண்ணி படிக்க வச்சா chat GPT தான் சொல்லி தராங்க so that's why it's going on. Okay, so it's totally different now. The days are totally different now. That's what the impact of environment. So that's about 9.1. Shall I go for 9.2? 9.2, it's a beautiful topic on pestle analysis. Not only with pestle, we'll be discussing on value chain and Porter's five forces of five framework work, five forces work. Okay. First is pestle, so as we know, political, economic. Please go in this order, so clockwise order, because we have two E's here. Actually, it was pest analysis before, earlier. political, economic, social, and technology. Then we were focusing on environment and also technological and legal and all. So it is either L, E, or EL. Uh, Pronunciation is same, EL or LE, whatever it is. Okay. So six environmental influences versus political. Actually, we have the society, what is the law, how the constraints are being there, and how the opportunities are created, how it's making a threat for me. So Tesla is actually maybe a threat for the Mahindra, but it's actually taking it as a challenge because they have to face it. Okay. So state of stability. Because when we talk about political instability is also there, political stability is also there. So when we say instability, probably it is creating some adverse conditions. So when we say that 15 days rice ban, okay, it's creating an adverse condition, but not for a longer period. Okay. If you talk about the investors, if there is no political stability, then definitely there will be a problem for the investors. They want to know how far we can invest in India. If I'm talking about India's stability. Because Tesla is making a launch of showroom here, not of the product, is the making a launch of showroom here. And because Apple is launching a showroom over here, opening a showroom over here, it is actually inviting the investors outside the country, from outside the country. That is, foreign investment is brought inside. This shows political stability. Okay, probably we have this war in the recent period. We have this war, we have this natural calamity. So many things we are facing. But apart from this, when we talk about political side, we have this political stability. Okay, so political instability will definitely place a question mark on the investors, so foreign investors. Political stability is it's favoring the government attitude, so it's creating lot of opportunities and favorable business environment. Recent period within this 1 year period, I think our prime minister he went to German again for some talk live. After that, there are many openings for CMA. Okay, I came to know through one of my cousins. She is CMA inter qualified, but she's not CMA final. She hasn't completed CMA final, but she has this very good background on working for the companies. Okay, she's flying for Germany and she has very good opportunity to go there. And when I had a discussion with her, she was telling that because the Prime Minister went to Germany and they had a talk and there are very openings for cost accountant stuff. So in future, if you're planning for, so you might be thinking, cost accountants is meant for Indian rules and Indian regulations. So if as it's not only for cost accountants, for CA, CMA, and CS for all the three, if you're planning to go outside India, then what's the scope of work over there? So our qualifications accepted over this, this becomes the main question. But now it's changing. It's just because of the business environment has changed. Okay. Next goes with macroeconomics. So when we say economic, see, best analysis is macro. Okay. SWOT analysis is micro and macro. That is internal and external. See, this political, economic, everything, not only for me, for everybody. So political stability or political instability, maybe the policy may be for particular industry. But when the government is stable or when the government is unstable, it's affecting everybody. Okay, not only for organization, even for layman also, even for single public also is affected. So in that sense, special access is completely on this one macro only. Okay, there is external environment. Okay, so economic forces we are discussing the macroeconomic forces by default. Okay, so general health and well-being, everything. So adequate rate of return. So probably we got this news like we are in the fourth place in GDP. So we are surpassed Japan. Okay. Actually, we are fourth in place in GDP, but when we check for this capital income, per capita income, obviously we are lagging only. It will take some time because we are highly populated. Okay, fine. So four factors under macroeconomy, we have four factors. It's completely macroeconomic side. So I'll just give a hint and let me go away. So growth rate will be taken. So economy grows and we'll be expanding our business. Why we expand the business? Because economic growth, customers go for higher spending and the business will be. So economic declines, that's the business. Okay. Obviously, competitive pressures will be, it's like the indirect way. So when there's a research on economic declines, there will be competitive pressure, increase in competitive pressure. Okay. So expansion will definitely create opportunity. If you go for interest rates, this obviously when interest rates are there, customers routinely borrow money, they'll go for purchasing their own products, and obviously it's completely effect. But I've done this cost of capital and all, so everything goes from there. Okay. Then currency exchange rates is because of this forex exchange. Definitely there'll be an impact on the company's product. And inflation and deflation rates. Actually, we are going to check whether it's destabilizing the economy or what. So there will be a price inflation, and this price inflation will be having some effect so that the economy may not be growing well or the interest rate will, there's some volatility will be there in the currency. So everything will be there. Okay? And effects of price deflation. So if price decreases, so we'll be knowing the real price of fixed payments goes up and etc. So it is not favoring us. Yeah, the companies and the individuals will be affected and something. So that's our second what macro elements. Now we'll go for social side. Includes cultural changes, demographics, probably age, gender, ethnic origin, race, sexual orientation, social everything is affecting. And one highlight why many investors are planning for whether it's the industry or whatever it is, whether it's tech side or industry or whatever the side is, so whichever the angle you think. The main reason why they want to invest in India is highly populated, and another one is economic stability, and another one is culture. Because if you go one side of India, the culture is totally different. If you go for a metro side, the culture is totally different. Probably you can see one set of people where they are holding the small basic model cars, and you can see another set of people where they go in all high model cars. Okay, so social that's each and every organization will have a life here. Whether it's a small industry or big industry, everybody will have a life here because of the culture. Okay, so that's because of the age or gender or whatever it is. All these are just highlights only contained. And nature it creates opportunities. If you go for technological, yes, AI, internet, nanotechnology, new composite materials are now arising. Then if you go for environmental, yes, everybody are talking about this green issue. So when we talk about this carbon neutral, it's not only for see a few laws are such a way designed that we need to talk globally. Okay. Especially this pollution control. Okay, talking about this carbon neutral, carbon footprint. And another one we can say is maybe out of not in this area, prevention of money laundering. Okay, that was all one area where we cannot say it's only for my nation, it's all over. Okay, and also tech, IT. Okay, and legal, yes, health and safety regulations. So companies, yeah, this is one highlight where probably there is an A company and B company, both the companies want to do some amalgamation or merger. Then this merger policy, what they have defined between the companies, they have to go for the competitive authority. So under the Competition Act, they have to go to the competitive authority and they have to get a nodding over there. If the competitive authority says yes, because when two companies merge or one company acquires another company, competition will get affected. If competition gets affected, the next player will not be growing. If the other player is not growing, only one player is there, means that player becomes a dominating player. If that player becomes a dominating player, who is getting affected? People. So that's why there will be some restrictions on companies' mergers and actually there will be many other factors which are not separately taken here. Only six major factors are taken, but some are linked inside as well. Okay. So this is about pestle analysis. Can you please go to treatment? A small discussion of Mahindra Group's pestle analysis. Okay. So if you check all the six factors, there will be many factors, but when we go for political side, government is imposing some policies on automobile industry and infrastructure development and all. So that will be having an impact on Mahindra. So particularly discussing on Mahindra. Okay. And when we talk about trade policies, as we are discussing, export and import regulations will be there, and trade agreements or tariffs may be changing. Government support, yes, especially when they plan for electric vehicles, some subsidies and some support measures are there from the government. So this is the political side. Why we say this is political is if the government is changing, definitely many things are changing. If you go for the economic side, yes, economic demand for automobile is changing. Not only for automobile, for many products, especially we are discussing on automobiles so here. Interest rates effects and currency fluctuations and inflation also. Recently, again, see, it's all strategic management and everything happening is all the day-to-day life happening with us only. I had a chat with the bank manager. I don't want to mention the bank name and other things at all. He was saying, ma'am, if you're going to buy a vehicle, ma'am, just come here, ma'am, within half an hour, it's action with the normal rate of interest, okay, 7.5 or something, I think. Okay. He was saying, half an hour, you don't give any documents, ma'am. We have your account number. So we have your savings account here. So within half an hour, I'll give you the loan. You just bring the quotation, ma'am. That's enough. See, so very easy. The interest rates are such a way, it's having an economic impact. So if I'm going to invest, that is, if I'm going to buy a car out of my own money, I will be thinking, no, buying loan is so very easy, especially for automobiles. Okay, so this is actually paying away a good growth for industry also, right? So if you go for social side, yes, changing consumer preferences, vehicle features are also now needed in a better way. Urbanization and lifetime changes, yeah, definitely. And because if you see now nowadays, how many are taking car or that is apart from the car, how many are taking normal government buses or private buses? If they want to go for an outing with the family, they just want to have a car only for outing purpose of the family. Okay. Probably you might be knowing in your family also, and I have my cousins in my family. They take the car only for outing. Only weekly once they take the car because they want to go somewhere out. Just for 1 hour or 2 hour on any outstation. Only for that purpose they use the car. Now the lifetime changes. Because of that, I'm going to buy a car. Okay. Environmental awareness is also there. It needs to be fuel efficient and we need to have sustainable. If you go for the technological side, technological advancements is we got to have uh, dashboards, facilities, everything, and digitalization, emerging technologies, everything we need. Okay. Then legal side, regulation, safety regulation, labor laws are there. Environmental side, climate change, so carbon neutral, etc. Resource availability, yeah, that's a very important one. And waste management, how we are going to go for recycling. So this is the best analysis of Mahindra. We are not going to go for an in-depth one, just we are having a highlight. Because just if you study the material and go, you're not going to give some input. Okay. We have to give some other points where you can relate this. So let me take over. Continuing. So what is the role of manager here? Is they will be analyzing what factors are changing in the current and also in the future. Because the environment is changing, we cannot say just about the current environment. We have to talk about the future environment also and how it's going to affect my organization. It's not all the factors going to affect. Okay, usually we'll do all the factors analysis, but it's not going to be an influencing factor in all the ways, but we have to check because one will have a dependent effect on another. Okay, so it's all interdependent, right? And key drivers of change. Yes, for computer manufacture, he needs to talk about this technological change. For public sector, social change should be taken because now the population is an aging population. Okay, so so that may be a social change or political change, like how far subsidy is given, how far policies are developed. Probably not only for automobile, also for solar, for agri side thing and all, and the legislative changes. Probably we need to have new infra, new requirements, or other things. Is definitely focus on the personal factors and you just think which is important, not only just the analyzing, you have to give priority for which one you have to give more priority so that you can focus on these factors and that may be a critical area for. So this is one area over pestle. Now we'll go for value chain. Okay, value chain is defined by Michael Porter. Actually, two concepts will follow from Michael Porter in this topic. One is value chain and another one is five forces. What are the five forces that's affecting directly my organization? So when we say more, value chain is nothing but a transformation process. Value is not just it has happening in one event. It's like a chain process. Each and everything will be valued. Even a packing of the goods will be valued by the customer. They should be properly packed. So it when it transfers the inputs as outputs, each and every process that's we call as chain of activities will be adding value to the customer. So it's what we call as the value chain. So I just procure the raw materials from a supplier. Okay. And so this is a raw material. It goes through many processes. After going through, I get something called as finished goods. When there is a customer who buy this finished goods, each and everything is valued. Probably if you go for a mobile phone, how many probably you might be using not the very first mobile phone, sometimes second or third phone you may be using. The holding point also matters. If it is a big screen, that 8 inch or whatever it is, it will not be easier for you to hold. So if you want to hold in your palm, it should be very comfortable and it should not fall down. Okay, so the customer values each and not only the design, not the aesthetic nature, everything is being valued by the customer. So in this process, in this set, it's all the activities which the customer values. So each and every activity is creating value to the customer. That's why it's called as a value. Okay. So the main highlight is you have to categorize the activity and you have to check. So Porter's value chain of an organization, it defines in two angles. One is the primary activity and another which is supporting the primary activity. So because we are using the term value chain, we have to start from the beginning, from the arrival of the raw material. So we'll go for inbound logistics. Okay. So the raw material is being supplied by the supplier. We receive it. Probably supplier is providing it directly, or we are making the arrangement to take it up to our place. Okay. So that's about inbound logistics. And all the operations are carried over in my organization, in my manufacturing, in my industry, in my factory, and how it is being sent outside, okay, outbound logistics, and how it is being marketed and sold. And not only that, the service, the post sale service is very, very important. To provide all these, see, this looks like a very simple one, but all the supports activities for each and every case, how you procure, okay, what's the technology you're using, who's the man behind this, human resource development management, and complete firm's infrastructure. Everything is put together in what you call as a support activities. So actually it's a classification given by quotas. We can define in a different angle, but this way of classifying is highlighted by portal and is most of the industry use it. Okay. So we go for two-dimensional angle. One is primary activity and another one is support activities, which is supporting the primary activities. Okay. So two types, primary, directly connected to the creation or delivery of the project. So inbound logistics, I'm not dealing line by line, it's quite simple only. So how you receive, how you store, and how you distribute. So something we call this as just-in-time inventory. I'm not gone for this Mahindra and Mahindra, but I know Toyota is using just-in-time inventory. Okay, just-in-time inventory is a Japanese concept. Toyota is a Japan. So including material handling, stock control, transport, everything. So when we say inbound logistics, not only just bringing to my location. After bringing to my location, how I'm going to handle the goods. So everything has to be considered. Then operations, yes, how I'm going to transfer the inputs into final product. Then outbound logistics, after the final product is made, how I'm going to collect it, store it, and distribute. Before that, when we go for operations, it includes packaging also, assembling also, testing also. Then what is this? This quality testing. We may have some labels in the product which you buy, quality check, label listing. Okay, so that one and marketing sales. How the customers are going to come to know about your product. So it includes sale administration, advertisement, and selling, and are related to the service. So after sales service, and definitely you're going to maintain the brand image, right? So installation, repair, training, and sales. If you go for the secondary or support activities, yes, please highlight this term. This is the only line which is creating a difference between primary activity and this one. Everything is included in primary activity, but to make this primary activity work in a better way, so how effectively you're going to make this primary activity in a better way, you need to have this support activities. How you're going to procure. See, it's not just one operation, it's all different organizations. So there's different operations, and one is factory work and one is not just factory work. Marketing and sales is of course it's a factory work. After factory work only it comes. So how are you going to deal with that? What are the various inputs you're going to bring to the primary act? Everything has to be designed. And when we go for technological development, it may like seems like directly related to the product or process, but there will be some particular resource which we have to take care of. Then HR is actually they are the person who are changing things into top, not only missions. Even though we have the HR team working behind us, and infra, how you're going to plan, finance, quality control is being checked, information management, how the structures and routines will be taken care of. Those organization culture is playing an important role. Okay, so that's about infra. So let me finish off the setting. Actually, when we talk about value chain process, we are dividing it in two angles. One is upstream and one is downstream. Upstream means what is the value already there I'm adding to it. Okay. Downstream is I have the value, I'm adding it later. Probably your company and the company which we are producing a similar product. Okay. But after we sell the product, how we are providing customers post sale service, that will be a downstream. See, the values are added later in the value chain. But when we go upstream, I buy the product, I modify it such a way so that I create value to the customer. This is what you call as upstream. Okay, so upstream and downstream. Actually, we are not so much involved in these two terms, but just a highlight. Okay, so this is sufficient. So that's about value chain first. So this is the second content where we have to go for five forces. Actually, we have three contents. So next heading, 9.2 is forces, five forces framework. What are the five forces? Is there any picture? Yeah, we'll go directly over here. Okay. When a organization is See, we know about this life cycle, infant stage, growth stage, maturity stage, and declines. This is not only for the products or business of the cycle, that is of the organization, it's also for the business life cycle itself, which means my organization is just brought. Nowadays, we have this concept called startup for 5 years. This we call it as introduction of what you call as infant stage. Then it goes for growth, then it goes for mature, and it falls down. See, this curve steeping up and down is what you call as a maturity stage. Excuse me, maturity stage, and this is declining stage, aging stage of the business. See, each and every stage, when we go for the external environment, whether it's over here or here or here or here, in each and every stage, we should focus on these five forces. This is given by Porter. He says there will be a competitor, even though you're just grown. There will be a competitor in the industry. Okay. Supplier, probably, there may be, this is my organization, there may be a supplier A, there may be a supplier B, there may be a supplier C. I'm buying from A. Okay. If A says, for example, for the raw material, it's rupees 100 rupees per kg. Okay. He says suddenly that I'm raising the price 10% is now 110 rupees per kg. What you will do? No issues. If you're not there, I will go to B and I'll go to C and they are giving me at a good rate. But now the problem is there is no B and C at all. There is only one single supplier. What he will say is there is no B, there is no C. I'm the only supplier for the source. So no other go. I have to go for what? 110 rupees per kg. So this is the supplier's power. Likewise, what the buyer will do is there are so many suppliers, but I'm the only buyer for you. If there are so many buyers like mine, then that's not a problem for A or B or C. I will go to A. Okay. If A is not giving for 120 rupees per kg, I'm talking about buyer point of view. What this organization, for example, Mahindra and Mahindra, what this organization will do is, if you're not going to give 120, there is no issues. I go for B, I will go for C. Then this organization, being a buyer, has the power. So first force, second force, third force, and substitutes. If you are not giving proper cameras or something like that, there is a substitute where everything is put under one device, mobile phones. There are closed substitutes where this original or the primary product is just going vanishing away. So you have to be careful on so also. So probably nowadays hotel industry. When you visit the hotel industry earlier, it was like all basic South Indian is South Indian. Now it's not so. We are going for multi cuisine. I went for a multi cuisine restaurant. I cannot find idli or dosa only. Okay, not only that one restaurant. I have visited so many multi cuisine restaurants. Probably you might have noticed. I don't know how far you have noticed. Multi cuisine means they go for all the varieties. No idli and dosa. It's very rare that they have idli and dosa. Multi cuisine is no idli. Why there no idli and dosa in menu card? Okay, you see, for me it's not an issue. I manage with breads, fulka, whatever it is. But if I have a kid and I take the kid along with me, how many are okay with breads and other fried rice or other things? Okay, so they need to go with the idlis and dosas. So substitutes is becoming a very, very big problem where then we'll go for another one. So there the customers are ready to change. And new entrants. He may be thinking that okay, Airtel or Accel or Vodafone, they were not worried about their business till Jio came inside. Because of the new entrants, actually new entrants we have to see in the both angle. For Jio, the other players, when Jio as a new entrant enters into the telecommunication industry, other players are there where they'll be building barriers. Or when we say that Jio is coming as a new entrant, I'm afraid whether I will sustain in the business. See, now the big competition with Accel and not Accel, Airtel is Jio. Okay, so there is a tough compo like, okay. So these are the five forces we have to discuss for each and every organization. Probably you can just have a check on Mahindra and Mahindra. I'm not deviating here now. So you can just check what are the five forces for Mahindra and Mahindra because it comes in all put together. Okay. So it's nothing but structural drivers of change related to diversification strategy. We'll understand what are the different sources of competition and everything overall. Okay. So it's essential at all levels, at all SBUs, not the whole organization because it is being diversified. I cannot talk about the whole Mahindra and Mahindra. If I talk about automobile, I talk only about automobile. If I talk about defense, that is utility vehicle, I'll talk only about defense utility vehicle. Okay, so this is how it goes. It's not just a snapshot. You cannot just you can just describe. You have to encounter what are the problems arising and how you are going to overcome the five forces and how you're going to manage it. And you have to study about the futures of about the difficulties also. The macro environment factors which are now there may not be available in the future. Maybe available but in a different way, but in a different time. That has to be taken care of. And you have to understand the connections. Again, please remember that each and everything are interdependent. So there is some connection, interlinks. Okay. And five forces are independent to each other. Independent to each other, but there may be some connections. Okay. So this fourth and fifth point seems to be totally different, but it's actually different only. See, fifth point says it's completely independent. One is not connected to another one. Fourth one says there are some connections between these forces, and you have to understand. Okay. And competing behavior, definitely you have to check how far, probably I may be saying this is just a substitute product. Because of the substitute product, I'm totally washing it. So I have to check on this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I request you to make a note of this one pager. It's very helpful. Let me take here. When we go for here, let me go for substitutes first. Okay. Substitutes. What's the threat of substitution? Substituting the performance and cost of change. Both are threats of substitution. Not only for product angle, also for cost of change. Because probably I can go for table. Okay. Earlier on, if you see table, we'll be talking about wooden material, wooden tables. Now there's a substitute. We have different types. If you go for furniture, there's IKEA. Probably you would have heard of IKEA. Everybody, I came to know, I just read an article. One lady, she's an IT employee. She owns a house in Chennai along with the family members. She has purchased a house because, see, nowadays we don't want to use the old furniture. See, how many are using the drawer type furniture, like old models and all? That's totally different now. She has purchased a house, a flat in Perumalathur, I think. Okay. In Perumalathur, only to buy the IKEA furniture and she is enjoying nothing. She herself. Herself and I don't know whether she got married or I don't know. I don't have an idea. She's, I just saw that in a beauty shops. Okay. She's just closing everything saying that I bought this house to buy the IKEA furniture. And another one article I read that IKEA furniture, the caption itself was 6 years of modular IKEA modular kitchen. After 6 years of usage, not from India, after 6 years of usage of modular kitchen, they are now just giving us a review of shots. Okay, that was an article along with a small video. Like, okay, so many things are there. Like, the cost of change is also differs, right? And when we go for supplier power, that's a bargaining power of supplier, and also the angle buyer power. Both seems to be same. See here, supplier power. You have to check number of suppliers. If there's one supplier, then he is a king. Okay, we say customer is the king. But what the supplier says, I'm the only supplier. I do this, which means he becomes in a dominant position. Okay, so number of suppliers you have to check. What's the size of the supplier? It's unique in him. Probably maybe two or three suppliers, but there should be uniqueness. Why we have to rely on that supplier? So because see that uniqueness is what you want to say competitive advantage. That's the strategy of the supplier. And how far your ability is there. If that supplier is not providing, or if your terms of the supplier is not okay, you have any other substitute. As I was telling, wooden is not the raw material. Do I have any other substitute with steel or something? Yes, I have that. Why I need to lay on it? Some changing, okay, and cost of changing also differs. Probably we talk about this Neil cover. Probably when we talk about Neil cover, supreme chairs, tables, dining tables, and now this industry is now in bed cot and all. So they go for shoe stand and everything. Okay. Not only for Neil cover, most of the brands when they fix with chairs alone. Now they are not fixed with chairs. They are fixed with all of the furnitures. What are the house needs? Everything is being fit here. Then when you buy a power, number of customers, let's say just the opposite one. Buyer and supplier power is just opposite. Size of each order has to be taken. One buyer may be placing a small order, but very often he will be placing. One order may be placed by a customer where he plays a very big order, but after that he will not be in a contact with us. So who have to check? Big order or small order? Small orders often he'll be placing. He'll be in regular contact with us. But what about the big order? He'll just place and go away. So what type of the buyer is having the power? So the customer, one is going to place regular order, he'll be saying, it's maybe a small order, but I'm regularly purchasing with you only. So you're my regular supplier. So give me this discount. The one who's placing a very mass order, he'll be saying that I'm not placing a small order, I'm placing a big order. Okay, so you have to give this massive discount. So you have to individually handle both the buyers over there. Okay, so this happens. And difference between competitors will be there. Price sensitive. Yes, if you're not supplying no issues, I'll go with the next person. Okay, and ability to substitute and cost changing. More or less the same stuff. Then okay, so let me come over. So three angles over. Now threat of new entrants. Time and cost of entry will be there. Specialized knowledge. If a new entrant is coming, Jio is coming with complete free service. Free SIM, free data, free. So what is the specialized knowledge? What about the economies of scale? How far it can provide? Cost advantage will be taken, technology production and barriers to entry. Yeah, this is the other way. Actually, this is a weak point for a new entrant. Okay. If I am the industry person where I'm dominating or not, if anybody new player comes inside, I will be placing barriers for them. Okay. There will be barriers to entry where new entrants will be thinking, why I have to go inside this? If Sahasri Singar Academy is planning for automobile industry, definitely I'm not planning. Okay. I'm just telling. If I'm planning for automobile industry, first I'll think of how Mahindra and Mahindra is going to react. They will not at all react, don't worry. Because I don't have any experience in this. If any other person react goes for as Tesla is now launching, Mahindra's reacting over there. Again, you may be asking, well, how can we say Tesla is new to automobile? Tesla is not new to automobile, but Tesla is new to India on opening a showroom. So he's a new entrant. But Anand Mahindra cannot be a barrier for the entry, but because it's not the control, it's the macroeconomic force. It's not under the control of Mahindra Group. Okay. So it's a macroeconomic force which is bringing more economical strength for the India. Mahindra cannot do anything. But if there are some organizations or there are some political instabilities there, or there may be some political stability where they are not strictly banning the other organizations inside the our nation, means then it's going to be a barriers for them. Then this one, competitive rivalry. Yes, please check how many competitors are there. See, they are competing with you means you may be having some uniqueness or he may be ahead of you. So there is a quality difference. Please check on that. Not only quality, there may be other differences also. Sometimes, yeah, please make a note of this fourth point. It's a very beautiful point. Switch over cost. From this product to this product, if I switch over, what it costs me. This is for customer's point of view. Okay, I'm using brand A. Now I go for brand B. How it's going to cost? What's the switch over cost? And how far the customer is loyal? And cost of leaving the market. Okay, if I leave the market, how I'm going to manage? So LG is out of scope. Mobile phone is out of scope for them. When LG gave this public announcement that we are not going to hereafter produce mobile phones, I bought a mobile phone just 1 year before. Okay, 1 year before old mobile phone is older. Just think somebody has purchased just 1 week before or 2 months before, and LG says you're going to stop it. What will flash in your mind immediately? Ayyo, phone pochna? Just now I bought. What about the spare parts? LG, along with the announcement saying that we are going to stop mobile phone manufacturing, it gave for 2 years we'll be providing spare parts. So mobile life is 1.5 years, and after that it's we are using a more old mobile. Okay, so LG is giving this announcement that we'll provide spare parts for another 2 years. Now it's okay. If you are not going to buy mobile phone is not going to be available in the market, but spare parts will be available. Okay, but many were not using, they just throwing away. Okay. Okay, so this is about the five uses part. So let me have a fast glance on this. The threat of new entrants, risk of entry will be there by the potential competitors, and the established companies already they are working in the industry, right? So they will be not encouraging the potential competitors. So they'll check, okay, if SSA is entering into automobile industry, then they'll not be worrying about at all because SSA automobile does not have a big experience or no experience for SSA automobile. If any other industry is entering, then they have a check on this. Okay. Relationship is potential competitors must bad to enter a industry. See, if we are entering into a new industry, definitely have to check what's the cost for me because it's a new market for me. Okay, so that has to be checked. Yes, barriers of scale, the economics of scale. I can produce only a small amount, but already there are competitors who are producing in a big amount, so they can fix a less small price. Economics of scale is mass production, right? So I can fix a small price, but I cannot fix a lesser price, okay, cheaper price, but they can do it. Okay, and when I go for not only for cost reduction, when I go for bulk purchases, because I am already producing mass in mass. So when I go for bulk purchases, I'll get discounts on raw materials and on component parts, everything. Okay, so this also happens. And cost savings on large volume of output process. So fixed cost will be split away. New companies move over economies of scale. They must raise the capital, no other go. Because they have to build this large scale production. They have to go for the investment angle. And they have to increase the products also. So to depress the prices, right? Then go for brand royalty is how it is being created because it being the advertisement and patent production, so on. So I'm not going line by line. Okay, you can just have a look. Next is absolute cost advantage. So this is a big relief to the potential entrants. Okay, because I'm getting cost advantage, so I will be planning how can I match with the company's resources and all. So that will be a higher one. Okay. Probably you may be working in all these areas in future. So if you are planning to see, our main rule is on cost accounting only. So if you are planning to go for the manufacturing side, all these will be applicable for us. So if you work for any automobile industry or whatever industry, so as a cost accountant, you'll be applying each and everything. What at all you're studying in SF, you'll be applying. Probably the costing will be a small area. Costing is our major paper. SM and OM is secondary only. But those cost accountants who have met in recent days, all those are discussing on OM and SM. Okay, because they need to use what strategy could be used, how operational research will be discussing on many topics. In costing, they're using a very small area. Probably they talk about budget costing, or they talk about job costing, or they talk about standard costing. Only small areas that they are utilizing. But the major component goes with the SMN. So again, a major difference. Okay, so customer switchover cost is I have discussed this one, and government regulation is there. So I'm not going line by line. Okay, like this, like all simple content only. So this first area with respect to new entrant. Next is rivalry among established countries. So competitiveness. Com- Actually, there is a small difference between the word competitor and rival concerns. Competitor means rival means directly related to our business. Competitor means within the industry. Okay, so that's a small. See how we were defining the industry and sector. The difference between the term industry and the same thing, rival and competitors. Here we're not talking about rival. Rival is the same product he's manufacturing that we call it as rival concern. When we say competitor, we'll talk about the substitute also. Substitutes are somewhat related products also in spoken. Okay. See the competitive struggle within an industry. Okay. So how it is for probably you're using price strategy, you're reducing the price, or small change in the designs because of the product design you will be using it. Advertisement and the promotional spending will be having a direct impact and direct selling efforts after sales service post sales. So probably maybe design this AMC. Intense rivalry will be there, and sometimes less intense rivalry also will be there. So, how far your pricing, fixing the price on competitive strategies and all will be taken for hold. And squeezing profit out of industry also will be considered. So, if the rivalry is very intense, if the competition is very intense, obviously you cannot think about profit at one point of time. If it is a meager profit, then it's fine because you have to withstand. That's about the non-price competitive. Sorry, that's about squeezing profit. So you will find very less meager difference. See, top profit you cannot lead the business, but you will get a very meager profit. But when you go for non-price competitive strategies, you will not think about the profit. Probably I will fix a very high cost. There will be a customer base where they will buy my product. Okay, if the same product is available 10 rupees, but because of my branding, you will buy it 100 rupees. That's only because of my branding. The quality, everything will be same. But because of my logo is there, they'll buy it for 100 rupees. Definitely. So, it's 90 rupees difference is because of the brand image. This is not price competitive strategy. If I don't fix it for 100, if I fix it, if I say this product is available for 10 rupees, if I fix it for 50 rupees or 60 rupees, what they will think is this only 40 rupees value addition. So they're not providing good service, I think. So let me go for 10 rupees itself. Because the spot rate is not going to provide a big thing. If there is an exorbitant difference, definitely there have been customer base where they buy it because of the brand. Okay, because not showing get and all, they feel satisfied. Okay. If I take my own self, probably the steel water bottles, vacuum steel water bottles, uh, already have this doubt. How far this hot and cold, the hot temperature will be maintained? Actually, it says water 24 hours, but it's not standing for 24 hours. Whenever I buy a bottle in any showroom, they say that it will stand for some 12 to 16 hours. But I have personally checked it's standing for 36 hours also. Okay. If it's Milton, I'm using Milton only. Okay. Milton and Cello, second, for example. I'm using Milton. Most of my bottles will be Milton. Okay. If I buy Milton, I have no doubt at all. I can comfortably carry it because if I take a high boiling temperature water, okay, it's a little bit hot. I have to keep it aside for some 5 or 10 minutes, then only get use it. But if I use Milton, I keep it at correct temperature because for person to person, the temperature water will be differing. I take little hot, you take little less hot. So if I take Milton, I have no doubt I can directly consume for water. Okay, if I use Cello, yes, I'm fine. But if I use any other brand apart from these two, I'm not comfortable. And probably paying some 100 rupees extra because of this brand. I very well know. You won't believe I have almost like 10 water bottles of milk. Okay. My mom will be scolding. What water bottle costs like 900 to 1000 rupees, 1100 rupees. Okay. For my daughter, I have three. For sir, I have four. During the travel time and all, it should not spill over. Okay. While driving car and all, I have three only for driving. It's almost like 8 to 11 water bottles I'm using. My mom will be scolding. 15 ரூபாய் வாட்டர் பாட்டில் வாங்கி எப்படி அப்படின்ட்டு. See, I'm okay with this. See, it's like a one-time investment for me. I'm going to buy and I'm going to throw away. That's different. But so far, I'm using this bottle for almost 1 to 1.5 years. I'm very comfortable. And in addition to that, I'm having stock at home. Another one, three. Okay. கொஞ்சம் சொன்னா கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா தான் இருக்கும். 20,000 வாட்டர் பாட்டில் வீட்டில் வச்சிருக்கேன்னு சொன்னா even for dustbins, I do that. I'll go for Neil Kamal, Supreme. Supreme was a secondary only home. I'll go for Neil Kamal dustbins. Okay. I'm comfortable with that because sometimes it falls away. See, I have made at home. She is managing. Sometimes it falls away. It will not break. Okay. So it happens. Even for household thing, see, day-to-day thing, which, see, I'm a customer for this unit, right? Day-to-day thing which I'm using it, definitely have to use a, it should give me comfort. Okay. As I was saying with the Limited bottle, I don't know how far you have noted. If you hold the bottle in hand, it should give the shape. Some bottles do not have the shape, and it should not be like slippery and all. If I hold it, it should give a grip. That's all happening with Milton and Silk. And in recent days, I'm not liking this Milton because when it fell down, it makes some dent and all. So I'm not okay with Milton. It looks like as if I'm using a very old water bottle. So I'm now shifting to Cello. Okay. So let me go for the next content. Determinants of the industry or rival is industry competitive structure will be defined depending on the number and size of the distribution of the companies will be differing and what the strategic managers are analyzing about this industry. Because when you talk about industry structures, this is the organization structure, it will be differing. Each and every industry will be having a different structure, so it differs. Okay. We say about something called as fragmented industry because when we say industry, we cannot talk only about the big level players. There are small and medium sized companies also. We may be looking after them as small or medium sized, but at one point of time, they'll be a gigantic player. Yes, so that's also has to be taken. And low entry barriers will be there. Because sometimes when we say, okay, we enter this industry and there are no entry barriers, we can manage it. So low entry barriers, commodity type products will be difficult to differentiate, so that's all will be there. And effect of low entry barriers on new entrants, they flood the market. Everybody will come inside the market. Okay, so everybody, like mobile phone industry. There are no entry barriers, everybody are invited. Obviously, three or four bad image under one company only. So it happened. Vivo, Redmi, yeah, everybody are one person. So the demands will be strong and obviously the profits are high. Everybody are purchased products so the profits are high. And impact of flood on new entrants into a booming. Because they are creating excess capacity, they have to use the spare capacity also. Leads to price war. So what's the difference between this brand and that brand and how it's being price war? We have to just take it for granted, okay? I'll go for consolidated. So one thing we were discussing on fragmented industry. This is consolidated industry, which means large companies They'll all be dominating smaller companies. Okay, so it will be dominated by small number of large companies because when we go for this ratio, usually we have this rule 70 is to 20 is to 10. We were discussing earlier. 70% of the industry will be dominated by, also you can call this as ABC rule also. Okay. 70% of the industry will be dominated by two or three players. So if we talk about automobile industries, it looks like there are so many players, but still only two or three players are dominating the industry. So this is how it goes. Okay. So when there are small number of large companies dominating, we call this as oligopoly. But instead, there is only one company which dominates the complete, not its monopoly. Obviously, in India, monopoly is restricted. So that's why we have this competition acting. That's why when we go for merging or acquiring an organization, we need to get the nodding to the competitive authority. So monopoly is taken care only by the government. Now it's completely getting privatized. If you go for railways, it's getting privatized. Okay, now it's completely changing. Probably in another 20 or 30 years, it will totally. Probably government will be placing regulations and all, but the control will be taken by the government, but there may be many private players. So most of the public sector undertakings are all trying to become privatized. It's happening. Okay. Okay, so reasons, companies are independent reasons, cooperative actions because of price change or quality change. One company is making a movie, so obviously the other company has to make a reasonable move. If it is not moving, then it's not going to stand the competition. So if you are making any move, you are my rival, then I have to make a move accordingly. If I'm not moving, so as Anand Mahendra is doing, I face a challenge. He's talking in a decent way. Okay, so it's happening, and how is attempting to undercut each other prices. Okay, so this is also happening, and how it has been reducing its threats. So obviously, it's a threat. Like, see, you are a dominating player. I'm not looking at monopoly. You are a dominating player. You are fixing one rate. Obviously, I'm the rival concern directly to you. So I also have to place this. This is what it was as price war. So also have to set a price. Okay. If I'm not setting a price or if I'm not thinking about the price, then this is going to be really a threat. So I need to reduce the threat. Some organizations, what they do is they clearly give an open statement that we're not going to reduce the price. Not only that, along with that, they say we are not compromising on quality, so we are not reducing the price. So one angle for reduction of prices, they directly led to reducing the quality. So we are not reducing the quality. Why we are not? Why we are focusing on reducing the price? Else, we had to go for mass production. Already we are in the mass production. Okay. Next is industry demand. So this macroeconomic side. So growing demand. So we are looking out for new customers or additional purchases by existing customers also will be there. So moderate competition will be there, and obviously they also may be reducing rivalry because customer base is there, customer loyalty is over there, and high industry profits will often give the. And when we go for declining industry, there is declining demand. Obviously, we cannot expect the customers to stay here. They exit the marketplace. So customers they purchase, but not as before. They make it less. So they make less quantity of purchase. Okay. So it's also a major threat only. Okay. Breakfast cereal industry is now changing. Okay. Like the millet industry is growing. Okay. Many things has changed. Cost conditions goes with economics of scale, nature of fixed cost and all. And what happens when the fixed cost is high? Obviously, you have to go with the sales volume. If the sales volume is high, then fixed cost will be managed, economics of scale. If it is not, if you're not managing, then you have to somehow or the other you have to cost the total. Okay. And also promotional spending is also over there. Okay, I have to spend more on marketing. If I'm not spending on marketing, then it's all. Actually, one more point you can take is R&D. If you're not spending on R&D, I'm not going to show innovative products. Then how my product will be taken to the product to the market. So that's also a major point. So when the situations may arise for intense delivery and low profit is not growing fast enough. So it is growing, but it's not growing fast enough. So we have to engage in some other action also. So probably this week. See, always the curve will be not steeper like this. So sometimes or most of the times it will be very slowly in the infant stage it will be very slowly known to the public. Then it grows very slowly, only it grows. Then it reaches the maturity, but immediately falls down. See, this curve is not so very useful. Sometimes what happens is it takes a steep move, but after that it goes very, very, very slowly maturity stage, then it falls down very slowly. So when we go for mobile phone itself, Yearly, actually, mobile phone, I can go for this group. Okay, actually, mobile phone is a maturity stage, but not declining very speed in a very speed mode because everybody are having mobile. Probably, if you ask me another, how many years, how many will be using mobile phones? The usage of mobile phones will be there for another 30, 40 years. Will be there. Probably, we'll be finding new devices. Okay, even though you have smart watches, you will be having mobile. Okay. Actually, when there was an introduction of smartwatches, many were saying that how we are going to use mobile phones nowadays. They are using, even though they have smartwatches, they are using. Okay. Probably it has reached this maturity stage, but the decline is very slow. So the curve is this way. Okay, please try to understand. The curve is not this way. The curve is this way. So it will decline. Probably another 30 or 40 years, we'll be having another new device, or we'll be having many features added, but the mobile phones will be there. So that's the difference. Okay. So it's about intense rivalry and exit barriers. So there are some factors that prevents companies from leaving an industry. So if you may be thinking, if I leave this product and go outside, and I am a so this will happen. So every company will have this like emotional factor. We should not leave this industry. Or they are attached to them. Indian tobacco company. They're so much attached to tobacco because profit earning. Okay. You know this Seychelles claim for boats. Okay. You know CID pan? Sugar. Paddy sugar. Normal sugar. Okay. Actually, there are two or three bands, but paddy sugar is quite famous. EID Paddy is actually they were taken by one more company. I don't know which company is it. Along with sugar company, they had another one business also. Paper boats and another one business, I think. EID Paddy, paper boats, all chain of group of companies only. They had some other like tobacco related product. Not exactly tobacco, that's a tobacco related product. But when they went for this talk, acquiring the business and all, they were not ready to take that business. Actually, it's not illegal. Tobacco is not illegal. If it is illegal, means there's no ITC. Okay. Likewise, this brand was not illegal, but they sense that it's not ethical. So that's why they did not, in that acquisition talk, they did not talk about that product. Probably let me find and tell you. I couldn't remember this. Very long back I studied about this article. Okay. So exit barriers will be there. So it's because an emotional factor. How I'm going to consider. So economic side is there, strategic side is there, and also emotional factor. I cannot leave the industry because that's my trademark. That's my goal. Okay. And high exit barriers will be there. If I leave and this is my profitable industry, if I leave, then how I'm going to manage the other business like ITC. Even for Geo, it happened. Geo, when they were asking, how can you provide free SIM card, free data, they said that other industries are there, they are supporting that, those industries are supporting me, so I can provide you free SIM and free data. So that was it. And obviously, it results in excess productive capacity because you're not interested to be in the industry, but at the same time, you're not leaving away. So at least a meager amount of quantity have voice, right? If this is my situation, obviously the production capacity is now exists. So if this is the strategy happening, then obviously what they will think, how I'm going to manage the competition because I cannot leave the industry. How I'm going to manage the competition, etc. See, FMCG, so many companies we have FMCG, everybody are competing. But again, they cannot say we are going to leave the industry because if you talk about FMCG, you have to talk about toothpaste, you have to talk about noodles packet, you have to talk about everything. Okay, that's happening. Common exit barriers is you have to invest in assets. So probably specific machines or equipment you have to go for. And cost of living the industry, writing of the book value, maybe a trouble like so you have to look on that. High fixed cost of exit will be there. So severance pay, you have to pay to the employees, right? You're disconnecting them, so you have to pay to the employees. Health benefits will be there, pensions, giving everything. It's a big amount of cost for. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'll be utilizing those employees for any other case, like LG, how it took away the mobile phones. So it will be utilizing its employees for other case. Okay. Emotional attachments is there, economic dependence of the industry is there. So our entire revenue and all the profits are depending on that. And the maintenance of assets, definitely it's an expensive curriculum. You have to maintain the assets. No other way. And bankruptcy regulations. So probably in India we have a different regulation. Here they have given an example related to this. So that's about the. This was on the third force. bargaining power of the buyers. So it's the buyer's ability where they bargain the prices down. Okay. So, or they will raise the cost of the companies by demanding better product. Yeah, this is also there. Please make a note of it. One is they want to reduce the price, or the second one is they say that don't reduce the price, but I want more product quality. Okay, it should be more strength than like that, or better service or something like that. Okay, so consequences definitely you have to squeeze your product, which means your profit will be less. Okay. So who are the industry buyers? The individual customers maybe if it goes for end users. Else this is one manufacturing company where it provides takes the raw material and provides the not exactly the end user goods, finished goods, where this finished goods will be bought by another company and they'll be using it. Okay, probably they'll make steel rolls and this steel rolls will be bought by the furniture industry or plastics or whatever it is. So this furniture industry becomes the buyer for the steel manufacturers. Okay. So powerful buyers means it's actually a threat only. Weak buyers means probably the price rise or reducing costs probably will not have a big impact, but it will have an impact, not very big as the powerful buyers. Okay. So when buyers are most powerful means large number of small operators. You think that they are small operators, but once they join together, oligopoly, they are talking, right? So when they join together, they become larger number. Okay, so in that case, and your concentration on buyers when you go for high volume. Okay, so that's maybe a case. Suppliers dependency. So our product, our future is depending on buyers thing only. So he may be saying, if you're not providing wooden, there may be a person who manufactures steels and provides in the low cost. I'll go for that one. Okay, so automatically what I'll do is if you are a good buyer and if we have a good relation, means I'll be thinking that okay, let me lower the cost. So this will be happening. Low switchover cost, yeah, that's what I was telling you. The raw material is being changed. So that's also easy. Alternative sources of supply is if I go for instead of A, if I go for supplier B, and yes, B is also providing at the same quality and price is less. Let me go for B. Why I need to go for A? So ultimately, I need to give some return on investment for the shareholders, right? And track of backward integration. Yeah, beautiful concept. See, if you're not supplying properly, the process earlier was a process earlier. Steel manufacturing. Let me do the process. No worries. I collect milk from all the farmers. Okay. After collecting milk, I make their daily products. If the supplier is not a proper person, what I do is I buy a estate. Okay, I buy the cows. I make them to collect milks and all. Then I invest in my dairy products, which means I go for backward integration. Which means the one step earlier is taken care by me. Okay, probably. If you talk about Mahindra, it is manufacturing steel. It went one step ahead, forward integration. It went for manufacturing zone automatics. So that's the difference. Okay. Next is bargaining of the suppliers, same old content, raise input prices or cost in other ways. So just the ulta case of bargain. So I'm not going line by line. Can have a link. Here is also the ultimate consequences squeezing the profit. Okay. You just have a look. When supplies are most powerful, only there are few substitutes. Concentration of the supply, see, same over. Okay. Then high switchover cost, here will be low switchover cost over there. Here it is high switchover cost. What is that difference? And entry to customers industry will be there because of forward integration. Okay. If you're not worrying, then I'll go for next process. So that's will be the thing. Then trends of substitutes. Actually, they are different business, different industry, but they are satisfying the customers. So that's a big highlight. Again, yeah, I was just thinking to buy a mobile phone for my personal use. Of it. I like taking photos and all, so I need to have the sharp pixel images. So actually, I was having this idea to buy a camera to click the photos. But definitely, if I walk anywhere, just to go for a small walking or whenever I feel like it, I click a photo. Okay. But what happens is, am I going to carry a separate camera when I go for some small pocket? No, definitely I will not carry. Okay. Already lazy to carry the mobile itself. Okay. So nowadays and all, we have this zip pockets and all. Okay. We are not used to have sling bags always, not like boys. Nowadays we got used to it. Okay. We have zip pockets. So while buying this mobile phone, I have thought I should give more importance for camera, even though it costs more. I need to give more importance for camera. So I was searching for mobile phones, which phone I can purchase, Vivo or OnePlus. I got one for my mom also, one for me. I got OnePlus, and for her I got Vivo. The only difference why I did not go for Vivo is the one which I have, OnePlus model, which I have is Sony camera. Sony separate camera is their brand for them. That is, I'm not talking about the lens. Here, the Sony lens is used in mobile phone. The only reason which I know for what I bought the mobile phone is Sony lens, which means it is satisfying the customer needs, but it's the threat for the substitutes. How many are buying Sony camera? No, they're not going to buy Sony camera, but they have to substitute to the product. So they are actually tied up with this one. Forms of substitution for product will go for product, new for redundant, will go for some generic substitution also sometimes. Instead of buying this, we'll go for buying this. Okay. Probably if you're going for a like family get together. Earlier and all, family get together means they just assemble in one particular common relation's house and they will just cook them by themselves. Now the family get together is totally different. They go for barbecue nation, they go for some team outing or something like that, and they just gather. They reserve a table and they just go for it. See now it is totally different. Okay. So coffee industry competing directly, indirectly with tea and soft drinks. So if you're not preferring tea, then obviously, if you prefer to have something little hot, then you go for coffee. If you're not preferring tea, so it this goes the other way. Okay? And consequences of few substitutes is actually substituting a weak competitiveness. So I may be thinking in a different way, you may be thinking in a different way, and actually it's rising the prices of the substitutes. And there's actually a sixth force complement us. Actually, when we talk about Porter's, Porter gave us five forces. Again, apart from this, we have the sixth force called as complement us. Complement us is not directly involved, but it's somehow it's affecting the industry, which means it's adding on the value. I buy mobile, along with this, I buy a headphone. Probably I own Sony, sorry, I own OnePlus. The same headphone, I use it. It's actually a complementary product. Without that also you can use it, but it becomes additional value for my product. Okay, I feel more comfortable with this. So it's complement only, which means it's adding value, but you use it. Okay, so probably if you go for PC, we use a computer application. Without Microsoft, PC is nothing. This again. So this is how the status is. So you can just have a look. So this is about the third category. So Rio framework. So this is a concept developed by Barney. Okay, so credit goes to him. Actually, this framework is we need to evaluate the forces, how far we have the capability of us. Okay. See, when we talk about PESTEL or SWOT analysis or the five forces, we are talking in an outside environment. So PESTEL is completely outside, macro. Even the five forces also about the competitors, about the buyers, about the suppliers, very internal. But when we go for Brio, it's completely internal because we want to know who we are. So we are competing, which means we are calculating our capacities. Okay, so how far we are competing? Okay, not competing, how far we are competitive. So how far I'm having this capability to go. So one is with respect to value. So value is one competitiveness, which is giving an advantage over you. Probably, if my firm is existing, what is the reason my firm is existing? Usually, when I do the business, I need to check I am this business, customers come to me. Why customers don't go to the next person? The rival need not be a rival. Any other small venture. For example, let me give a very small example. I want to buy some Dolo 650. Okay. And I see a medical shop, MedPlus, Apollo. I don't go and buy them. Okay. There's a brand. They have a brand. There's a chain of shop. Always these basic medicine will be available in all the shops. If I'm talking about any particular medicines, I need to go and refer them only. But this Duro 6 is available everywhere. I go to a small what pharmacist, like a small medical shop, I'll go and buy Doro 60 over there. The only reason is if I go to Apollo for buying two tablets of Doro 650, I need to stand in the queue. For what? Not for buying the tablet. Give a printed version of this receipt. So I make a payment, that person will be sending to another one person. So that's a classification of jobs. So I asked the person for a dollar 650. That person, because of the two tablet, he'll be sending it to the counter. I need to pay the cash only for this two tablet, which is a Dolo 650, which is available in the next shop also. So I won't go for it. Even though I get a bill, I'm not going to file that bill for any purpose. It's just two tablets, man. Whether it's 10 rupees on, even though if I buy it for 1,000 rupees general medicine, it's better that I go for Metrazole. But if there are some medicines where Apollo only provides the tablets, you see, all the medicines will not be available over there. So I may go for preferring them. That's about the value. Okay, value is not regarding the brand. Value is something for what you are capable of. Okay, obviously, when we say brand, which means you are capable of, you have created a brand. That's different. Okay. So when you say competitive advantage, yes, definitely we have some core competencies and it's creating a competitive advantage. It's creating a uniqueness. Rareness is that's what we say as unique. Your competentness should be rare. Okay, when we talk about Mahindra and Mahindra car, it's completely manufacturing is domestic vehicle. Indigenous, completely made in India. Okay, nothing is exported. From each small process to the last one, all the models are being made by all the spare parts are made by Mahindra and Mahindra. So it goes. So whether the competitors are rival possess the same competencies is a question mark because how far it's going to be helpful. See, I'm also making this uniqueness, you're also making uniqueness. But how are you going to tap the customer? That only matters about it. Okay. I'm unique in some way, you're unique in some way. We cannot compete the other side because this Rio framework is about talking about ourselves. I'm not talking about the others. See, when we go for SWAT or when we go for Pistol or Five Forces, we'll be talking about the other person, other industry players. But when we go for Rio, we'll talk only about ourselves. So first you should know who you are. Okay. Then imitability, yeah, is beautiful one. So if you are creating anything, please check how far or how long the competitor will take to imitate it. Okay, probably I'll give this example usually. Good night liquidators. So you have this coil, then you have this mat. Okay, then you have this liquidators. So some it will be provided the bottle like so they insert the bottle and they will get the flash and all the smell and all will get it. Actually, Goodnight was the first person to manufacture to bring this as a product, and we have Martin also, other brands, a strategy and Martin. We have two, three brands, but Goodnight is still there in the industry. So if you visit any houses, definitely you'll find Goodnight. So if you go for some, you just have a look on 10 houses or 10 shops, you'll have Goodnight by default. Martin and all a second only. See, imitability. The others can imitate. See, it's your competency, it's your capability. You can make this product, innovative product. Obviously, the other person will also make the innovative product. But what is highlighted in this? Why you are sustaining? That's all. That's about Brio's flavor. Another I would say is mobile selfie cameras. You have camera which captures the image on the other side. What about the selfie side? And some cameras now it's okay. Some 2 years back, some cameras, if you take the selfie photo, it will not be very clear. Now the cameras are provided in such a way that both ends are it's clear. And we both pop-up camera. Okay, pop-up camera is a different version. Okay, so many things are here. Okay, and likewise, fold cameras, fold mobiles, okay, flip-flop mobiles are like okay. So imitability. Actually, what's complex in this is we have to check whether tangible resources or intangible resources are there. Tangible resources should be easy because if it is not easy, then even though you are giving innovative ideas, if you are not getting the raw material for this, then it's completely waste. So tangible resources should be easily available, but intangible resources, the IPR, the network, the know-how, it should be difficult. If it is difficult, only it becomes non-immutable. If it is not difficult, it's really easy. It means the other player will come and tap the market. So you should see definitely the other player, the rival concept is going to tap the market. But what the issue here is he should tap after I enter and get successful. That's the only difference. Okay. Then organization, yes, probably for what purpose you're utilizing its resources, how the employees are getting motivated, how they are innovative, and you have to reward them performance. And the organized structure is also playing a important role. That's about Rio. Actually, we have four headings. So I think that's it. So next class we'll continue with 9.3. Thank you for thanks.